We tell your stories every day, live. This is NBC 33 News Morning Edition.
Good morning, I'm Emily Turner, and thank you so much for joining us. Today is Columbus Day, Monday, October the 13th. Storm Tracker 33 meteorologist Kyle Myers getting us ready for what could be some wild weather here in South Louisiana today. What can we expect later today, Kyle?
Actually, we have the possibilities of strong showers and thunderstorms later on this afternoon and this evening. It's our first dose of severe possibilities across South Louisiana this season. So stay weather aware here today, as we have been forecasting that all hour long into now the 6 o'clock hour. Still tracking some isolated sprinkles across areas of Acadiana. Most of the showers and thunderstorms situated off towards our northwest. That's where that line of showers and storms will be coming from, giving us that possibilities of rainfall today. 74 degrees right now in Baton Rouge, 75 Gonzales. Most of us here throughout South Louisiana in the mid to upper 70s. We are again looking for today being the last humid morning, as well as the day today. Much cooler weather on the way after we get rid of some of these showers and thunderstorms. Some of those on the strong to severe side. We'll have a full look at your forecast on that, as well as those fall temperatures. Big changes on the way here into the next couple of days. Full details on that forecast in just a few. Let's first take a look at our traffic outside this morning as we're waking up this Monday morning. Looks like things are still nice and quiet on our interstate system, so nothing major to report. Make sure to buckle up and drive safely. This traffic update brought to us by the Murphy Law Firm. Emily.
6:01, and we're tracking developing news on the Ebola virus today, and a move by the Attorney General's office to keep an Ebola victim's ashes out of a Louisiana landfill. Later this morning, Buddy Caldwell is expected to file for a temporary restraining order to keep Thomas Duncan's ashes and all the things he touched in Texas and away from the Bayou State. A reported 6 truckloads of incinerated items and ashes are supposedly Louisiana bound. Although we do have a hazardous waste landfill near the Texas-Louisiana border, Caldwell doesn't understand the logic. In a statement, he said, quote, "There are too many unknowns at this point, and it is absurd to transport potentially hazardous Ebola waste across state lines." Thomas Duncan was the first person diagnosed with the Ebola virus on U.S. soil. He died in Dallas last week. The CDC says cremation and burning all his belongings did destroy the virus. However, Caldwell says Louisiana can't afford to take any chances. We're expected to hear more about denying the Ebola dumping later today. Meantime, the CDC is still trying to figure out how a Dallas healthcare worker tested positive for Ebola after treating Duncan. Here's what we know about that new Ebola victim. She's a female nurse who helped treat Duncan before he died last week. We're told she did have on protective gear at work and at home, but still came down with the virus. The CDC believes there had to be a slip in protocols.
The 2 areas where we will be looking particularly closely is the performance of kidney dialysis and respiratory intubation. Both of those procedures may spread contaminated materials and are considered high-risk procedures. They were undertaken on the index patient as a desperate measure to try to save his life.
The CDC is following up with the other healthcare workers who came into contact with Duncan. The CDC says Ebola is only spread through an infected person's blood or bodily fluids. That includes urine, saliva, semen, and sweat. They say it is not spread through air or water. At least 4,000 people worldwide have now died from Ebola. There is currently no cure, only experimental treatments that have worked. Protesters in Missouri are calling today Moral Monday. They're hitting the streets with pre-planned acts of civil disobedience around St. Louis.
No peace! I'm not going to tell you again. No peace!
Today is billed as the grand finale to a weekend full of marches and demonstrations in response to the deadly police shooting of 18-year-old Michael Brown in August and last week's shooting death of 18-year-old Von Derek Myers, another black male killed by a white cop.
Like the protesters itself have been criminalized, harassed, and not everyone is with the intent to be destructive.
While some weekend protests were peaceful, some were not. Early Sunday morning, about 200 protesters forced open the convenience store where 18-year-old Myers was killed Wednesday. Police arrested 17 people when they refused to leave. We're also hearing reports of vandalism at a nearby church that reportedly supports area police officers. St. Louis Rams play at home tonight because protesters have warned more laws might be broken today. There will be extra police officers outside the stadium. Closer to home in your NBC 33 crime tracker, this Louisiana state trooper is accused of causing a huge wreck on I-10 in Ascension Parish because not only was he speeding, he was driving drunk. Even worse, state police say 34-year-old Damian Dyson Sr. of Baton Rouge didn't stop to see if the victim was okay. Dyson was off duty Saturday morning, and fellow troopers say he rammed his personal vehicle into the back of another car. The 21-year-old driver of the other car flew off the interstate, hit several trees, and his car flipped over. Troopers say the victim was wearing a seatbelt, and that saved his life. State troopers say Dyson didn't immediately stop, but instead claimed responsibility for the crash several miles down the road when his badly damaged car stopped near an exit. Sergeant Dyson is a 6-year state police veteran. State police are promising an unbiased investigation. Search continues for a dangerous fugitive here in South Louisiana. Still no sign of 33-year-old Dennis Champagne. Champagne has been on the run for over a week now. The sex offender is wanted on several charges, including battery and robbery. Even with all the publicity, no one has turned Champagne in. Police think he could be hiding out in Livingston Parish somewhere in the Walker area. The last Champagne spotting was Thursday near the EBR Livingston Parish line. Someone reported him walking down Florida Boulevard. 33-year-old Dennis Champagne is a white male, about 5'8", 185 pounds. He has light brown hair, blue eyes, and a tattoo on his left shoulder. Police say if you see Champagne, call 911 right away. The Blade Runner is back in court today for the first day of his sentencing hearing. Oscar Pistorius is looking at anything from a suspended sentence and a fine to as much as 15 years in prison for killing his girlfriend Reva Steenkamp last Valentine's Day. Last month, Pistorius was cleared of murder charges but was convicted of culpable homicide. That means he killed her, but not on purpose. The sentencing hearing is expected to last several days. The first store at the new Juban Crossing in Livingston Parish welcomed in its first customers over the weekend. We'll take you to a small opening before the big one this week, right after the break. Plus, college football has a new team on top. The SEC well represented in the top 25. However, your LSU Tigers still missing. More on that later in the show.
And I'm tracking the possibilities of strong to severe weather into our forecast today. Details on your Storm Tracker 33 Futurecast after the break.